Yo, yo, yo. Y'all know what it is, man. We back for another one. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Follow your boy on IG. That's at A1SF_CEO. At A1SF_CEO. Get at your boy for the fitness bundle. You already know I got it going for you. So let's get straight to it. Today we talking about ownership. Ownership in all things. That means accountability. That means home ownership. That means entrepreneurship. That means, whatever it is, you want to take ownership in all aspects of life, because that's true freedom. There is no other freedom except from having ownership over and domain over the things that you govern, that happens in your life. So just to start off with, when I talk about ownership, let's start off with accountability, because that's the basis of ownership. Before you can have ownership into things, you have to, hold yourself accountable in all aspects, right? You have to know who you are, essentially, to own it. You gotta know who you are in life to own life. If you don't know who you are, you're susceptible to follow any narrative, any path, anything that a person puts in your way that seems like it's the right thing. Like they say, a lot of people like to move forward and thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side. And, some people might challenge that and be like, nah, it's not. But I would say, yes, the grass is always greener on the other side. But a lot of times what you may find is that grass was fake. That grass wasn't real, right? Where you was at, all you needed to do was just water that motherfucker. It might have been nothing but dirt, but had you watered it and tended to it, your grass could be just as green, if not greener, than that other side's grass. And at the same time, to be real, and it would be your grass. So that's what I mean about accountability, right? You got to understand when you ain't shit. You got to understand when, you ain't shit. You got to understand when you are the shit. You got to understand when people around you ain't shit, or when they are the shit. That's the first lesson of ownership. Knowing who you are and what you stand for will help you a lot into navigating in things that make sense and things that don't make sense, so that you can make the right choices to take ownership into your life. Now, as we, grow older, starting out as kids, there's not too much ownership that you can have because you're constantly learning. Your parents are constantly preaching things to you. The world is preaching things to you, narratives to you that they want you to believe, that they want you to think is what's right and what they think is wrong. But as we get older and as we become adults, as we become grown, all of that subsides, and certain ideals and narratives and things that we may have previously, adjusted to, we learn that that's not the case. But the only way we can learn that is through accountability, and getting accountability through action, taking action, right? So that's the next thing of ownership. To be an owner, you have to take action. You can't sit back and just observe, sit back and watch. Now, it's a time where you sit back and you watch things so that you can make the right move. But essentially, all things happen for the people that go out and get it. The people that sit back and wait, the people that sit back and just pray on things to come to them. You'll be sitting down there waiting forever. But you gotta take ownership and be accountable for who you are, to know that you can take something, take action on something, and then the reaction from that, you can handle it. Because you're centered in who you are. So that goes into the whole concept of this ownership thing, right? Just going into a case of ownership is your domain, where you stay. Home ownership. Now, I know now for us millennials, me, myself being 30 years old, I previously had a house that I bought, and I sold that house, and I made, a nice little financial bank off of that. But that wouldn't have been possible had I not 5 years prior going through certain things that I went through that challenged my thought process of who I thought I was, right, at that time frame, taking accountability for where I was at that time frame, and making the action, or taking the action to change it, to be able to buy my own house, to be able to sell that house and then make a lot of money off of that. That would have never happened had I not, took accountability, sat back and observed what was going on, and then take action. So when it comes to home ownership for us now, it's very tough. I mean, financially, it seems like it's impossible, right? House prices are crazy. They're skyrocketing. And then your finances, your work isn't competing with it. It's not, getting higher. So a lot of times we may hear, well, you got to work harder. You got to work harder. But, that may be a true, but maybe it might just be an accountability piece of knowing like certain things that you do, certain ways that you spend your money, the way you budget your money. Maybe you could do things differently. But this is where the accountability piece comes into play. Like maybe, you don't have to have that nice car that you're driving or the car that you're driving with the car note that you got, man. Maybe you could let that thing go, you know what I mean? And get you a little hoopty that can get you from A to B. And then even when you get that hoopty, maybe you ain't got to drive it everywhere. Like, listen, I just walked here to the gym. I could drive here, but it's right up the street. Man, why am I going to waste money on that gas when I can just walk simply from my spot, which takes about 10 minutes for me to walk from my house, not even about 7 minutes to walk from my house to here. And, I still get the same work, walk back. It actually is even better for me because now I'm doing more cardio by just walking, and it's more beneficial in that. So, again, home ownership can be possible for us, but it's the accountability piece that we got to really look at our finances and see what we do. Like, I look on Instagram and I see a lot of memes and things that talk about, man, my bank account saying I can't travel, but fuck it, work-life balance. I'm going to go ahead and live my life, which is cool, and it's a season for all of that. But understand something. You can't, at the same reciprocal, complain when you don't have the necessities or the things that you would want to have in life if you're not taking heed to doing the certain steps that you're supposed to that breed for you getting that, right? Also, your job, like, man, if you work in something that's under the table, bro, you can't get a house like that, Financially, if you want to get a mortgage, you have to have stable income in at least for 2 years. Like, they require 2 years of that stable income. And then at the same time, money in the bank. So just because you got the money in the bank, this for all my dope boys, scammers, people out there that's really living like that. Like, they want to see that, you're making money legally. So you got to make sure that you got something on the books that can show these people, like, listen, this is a person that actually works and gets their money the right way so that they can put themselves in that position. Now, there's ways around it. Like, it's always a finesse to everything, but those are risks that you take. So you take it as your own risk. Don't listen to what I'm telling you. And then for entrepreneurs, you got to have the business set up properly, right? As far as paying your taxes, accounting for that revenue that's coming in, having your bank account set up that shows, okay, money's coming in, and then at the same time paying yourself a check through that business so that they can see, yes, this is something that, we can go ahead and mortgage that person on. Or even if you get to a point where, you got family that passed away and they pass you down some property, man, you got to make sure that, they had things in order lined up so that, if things go through probate or whatever the case may be, it can be a smooth process. Now, usually probate isn't a smooth process. It's going to take its time. But, it's just a process that you got to go through to get there. So, home ownership can be attained, but take the accountable steps to make sure that you're setting yourself up to be a homeowner, right? Don't just sit there and complain prices are too high and I can't get inside of some shit, and you're not taking the proper steps and doing everything that you could to get to that point. And at that point, if you're doing everything that you could, then what's due is for a correction in the market, because it's not going to last like this forever. It can't last like that forever. Eventually, the new generation has to get into houses, and there will be a correction. If you're doing everything that you're supposed to and you still can't do it, you can just bet your bottom dollar that there will be a correction to get you right. But just make sure you're doing the right things. And now, going to entrepreneurship, right? I'm an entrepreneur right now. I have my own security business and I do personal fitness as well. And I would tell you, this is probably the toughest thing that you could do outside of any fucking job that you got. Entrepreneurship is not easy by a long shot. This shit is completely tough, but you got to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success when it comes to this. And you got to know what you can handle. You got to know the things that you could take and the things that you can't take. Like, it's going to test your will. It's going to test your discipline. It's going to test, your mindset. It's going to test your relationships. It's going to test everything. And you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose a lot. I ain't even going to sit here and hold you. But for that one time that thing hit, that could put you right back on top. That could put you right back in the game to where they can't tell you nothing. And I think that's priceless, because to be able to create something from thin air, which is what entrepreneurs usually do, you create something from thin air, and then to see it to fruition and to come into something big, that just comes with a ego boost that's out of this world. Can't nobody tell you shit. So, but again, that takes accountability, right? No one seeing the numbers. If it's not making sense, if it ain't making sense, don't fucking do it. Find something else that's gonna make sense, and keep being innovative, keep being creative, keep being different, but doing the same wheel. Follow the wheel, but do it differently to how you are, right? And that's what's going to breed success. And then just be patient. I think the biggest thing in entrepreneurship is being patient, having the patience to know that it's not going to happen when you want it to happen. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And at the same time, it'll happen when you want it to happen if you're doing the right things too. So yeah, having patience, having will, having a strong will, knowing what you could handle is a big thing in entrepreneurship, because you're going to have customers that's going to complain. You're going to have your girl that's going to complain. You're going to have your man that's going to complain. You're going to have family that's going to complain. Well, where the money at? I thought you was this. I thought you was that. And they don't understand, like, you can make a whole bunch of money one day, and in the next week or two, month or two, you won't make shit. But that's why you have to constantly get up. And when I say your willpower has to be strong, every single day you got to be up and ready to do this shit. Every single day. There ain't no work-life balance when it comes to this entrepreneurship. You can't speak on work-life balance with entrepreneurship. It ain't happening. Your ass got to be work, and then find a way to have a life. That's essentially what it is. But with entrepreneurship, that's why they tell you to choose something that you love to do, because it won't need to be a work-life balance. What you're doing isn't work, it's your life, it's what you like to do. So you have no problem doing it. Don't just go out trying to do some shit because you think it's going to be cool or it's going to make a lot of money, man. Nah, do something that's, that stick with you, that you can wake up day in and day out and do. Your mindset for ownership has to be a strong-willed one, because it will be tested constantly. There will be people that will come to you and tell you how you should do it, right? And maybe it's okay to take their advice. Maybe it's okay to hear what they're saying, but you got the choice. It's ultimately what you choose to do, right? How you choose to move. That's ultimate ownership, and that's what the freedom comes from behind this, because, you got the decision if you want to go the right way or you want to go the wrong way. You want to go up or you want to go down. You got that decision. So, and that's tough for a lot of people mentally, man, because you're so indoctrinated in school, you're so indoctrinated in the church, you're so indoctrinated in ideals that they tell you this is how it's supposed to be. You got to be like this, and, you got to talk like that. And, man, no, you don't, bro. You just got to make sure you are a stand-up person. You know what the fuck you talking about. You know what the fuck you doing, right? And make it make sense so that everybody else can see that it makes sense, and then stuff will come to you. So you gotta have a strong willed mindset, man. There's a lot of people that'll come in and try and taint your brain about things and how shit should work. But hey, take it as a grain of salt. Listen to it, heed to it, but take it as a grain of salt, man. It is what it is. The downfalls of ownership. I could tell you from a standpoint that you can be on top of the world, right, and have one small situation that will take you completely to the bottom. And it's a movie out there, a Netflix movie that I think describes this very well. It's called The Platform on Netflix. If you are a person that's striving to be an entrepreneur and striving to have ownership, I would highly suggest you watch that movie, because that movie, in essence, is the sense of what an entrepreneur has to go through. You never know what platform you're gonna be on. And so the movie was basically about there's different levels, right? You got the top level, which is, the best level. The food is a big platter that they prepare for you. The higher the level you are, the more food you have to eat, to take advantage of, and to live a good time frame while you're in that platform. The bottom down you are, there's no food. So if you go down to like the lowest level, you ain't getting no food. So you at that platform for about a month, 2 months, and whatever level you on is going to determine what you're going to have to eat. And if you at the bottom level, you ain't got nothing to eat, they find themselves eating each other, attacking each other. And that's essentially how this ownership shit is. Like, listen, if you're on the top of the world, you the best. You can't do nothing wrong. You got all the food. You got everything coming to you. The bitches, everything is at you. You at the bottom. Your ass crazy. You done lost your mind. You're eating. You're in survival mode. You're eating whatever scraps you can get. And so, you know what I mean? But every time, but it doesn't stay like that, right? You're there for that time frame at that platform, and then you shift to another one. You can either go up or you can go down, but it all depends. It's kind of out of your control. And that's another thing in ownership, because in life, there's a lot of things that happen that's out of your control. But the best alternative is to at least have the ownership and the choices that you make when you're in the level that you're on, so that hopefully when your season does come, you know, you could benefit the most off it. And then the final thing I want to just talk about is just how fast things move, right? The evolution of life. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes in life. A lot of times we are always playing catch up behind things because we want to see, oh, what is the world going to be like in 10 years, right? But while you're trying to figure out what the world going to be like in 10 years, the world's still going, and it's changing at that moment, right? So when it comes to ownership, we spend a lot of time on just planning on things that we want to be right, planning on how we want things to be perfectly done. But man, while you sitting there planning, shit is happening. You know what I mean? So you got to make choices right now. Again, going back to that action, like things happen fast, bro. Before you know it, you look back at it and it's like, damn, the opportunities you had before aren't the same, because you sat back just planning and thinking that, you know, you're gonna have the perfect time, but it ain't gonna be no perfect time, right? This is what ownership is about, man. The perfect time is now. The perfect time is here, right? If you got the choice, if you got a big choice that you need to make, man, sometimes it's good to just make that choice and see what happens. And then if you know who you are, whatever happens, you can fight through it, you can survive through it, because ultimately you're a survivor through all situations. So with that being said, man, I'm glad for y'all listening to my video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on IG. That's at A1SF_CEO. We just knocked out legs. I did a crazy leg circuit. I really want y'all to really tap in with me on this fitness thing. So y'all hit the link down below in the description and get your copy of the fitness bundle so you can do the same workouts that I do. And listen, I got the AI prompts for you so you can use the artificial intelligence. That's what I use to build some of my workouts and some of my meal plans to stay consistent. And you can do that too by grabbing a copy of the fitness bundle. And like I always say, man, let's get this work.